Hey everybody, Nick Deckard here. Thank you for checking out my YouTube channel. If this is your first time, make sure you hit subscribe and make sure you hit the little bell below to turn on notifications so you get notified of every new video that I put out each and every Tuesday about Ocean City, New Jersey. So in today's video, we're going to cover the top 6 hidden costs that you may not be aware of when you buy a home at the beach. So let's get right into it. At number 6, this is only going to apply if you plan to rent out your property in any capacity, and that is property management costs. A ton of ways to do this, ranging from the least expensive, being doing it yourself, all the way to the most expensive, which is using a real estate agency, which is the most common. What you may not know is that real estate agencies charge on average between 12 to 15% of your rental income right off the top. So if you see a particular property has, let's say, $20,000 in rental income per season, you can guarantee $2,500 or so is coming right off the top out of your pocket. So just know that before choosing that as an option. And there will be another video I'll put out going through your different options to manage your rental property in the coming weeks. If it's already done, you'll see the link above. Feel free to check it out, but if not, it will be there soon. So number 6 is property management fees. Now number 5 would be flood insurance. So you may or may not know this, but if you are going to get a mortgage on your property here in town, you have to have flood insurance. So there are 2 types of flood insurance that you should know about: private market and the National Flood Insurance Program, which is government-backed, called NFIP. So the private market policies are cheaper. However, that comes with less coverage when it comes to obtaining FEMA grants. So those NFIP policies are first in line. So with a private market policy, you save on your premiums, but if there were to be an event where you require some insurance claims, you risk not getting any of that grant funding that's allocated if NFIP owners take it all first. So as far as costs go, it's a huge range. It depends on a lot of factors, primarily size and value of the home, as well as your flood location. I'll put out another video going a little bit deeper into those policies and your choices, as well as the cost breakdowns at a later date. It's a little too much to get into now, but just know that number 5, you'll have to budget for these flood insurance premiums, whether you have a mortgage or not. Again, you don't have to have flood insurance if you are paying cash, but it is highly recommended. So number 4, we're going to go into maintenance. So maintenance has to be done on every home. So why is it on this list? What's hidden about it? One big thing: salt air. So salt air does a number on your mechanicals, specifically the big ones: your heat, AC, and your water heater. So it's safe to say that, again, this is a generalization, your big mechanical items will only have roughly half the life expectancy as they should if you were not in a salt air location. So if you're buying a home with some appliances, some HVAC components that are 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, you may think you've still got plenty of time left. You don't have to worry about it. But from a budgeting standpoint, you should be prepared for those to fail at any time, because on average, we're looking at, let's say, 15-year life expectancy would be normal. So cut that in half, you're looking at 7 to 8 years. All that said, that 7, 8, or 9-year-old unit might last another 10 years. But this is all about not having those big surprises once you buy your home. So make sure you budget and prepare for new units as necessary. That takes us to number 3, your income taxes. There are 2 ways that you might have an impact to your income taxes that you may not have expected. The first affects rental property owners, and the second affects everybody. So the first way would be, how are you handling your property and how is it categorized from a rental standpoint? So you should definitely talk to a tax advisor specifically about how you plan to use your property. But in a nutshell, you're going to have to treat it differently for tax purposes, whether you rent just for the summer, some weeks here and there, or whether you have a winter rental tenant, you Airbnb it, and you cross a certain threshold on the number of days you rent out your property per year. So again, number one would be just for rental property owners. Make sure you check with a tax advisor on that. So number two would be when you sell your property. And eventually you probably will, whether it's you, whether it's your kids, your grandkids, somebody's going to sell the property you buy here. So when you sell, at least the law as it stands now, you're required to pay a capital gains tax, not only in your primary residence, which may be Pennsylvania, it may be any other state outside of New Jersey. And if that's the case, if you don't live in New Jersey in a primary residence, the state is going to take roughly 2% of your sale proceeds off the top and keep them for tax purposes. So that may be too much, that may not be enough, but what you want to make sure you do, and again, definitely get with a tax advisor on this, is understand how you need to file your taxes to get the most back as possible without overpaying. That brings us to number two, and that is your down payment. Now, obviously, you know you're going to be putting some amount of money down when buying any kind of property anywhere. So why is this on the list? And I included this for a very specific reason. If you're buying a second home here or a rental property, bare minimum that you're required to put down in order to obtain financing would be 10%. So that number gets bumped up if you are looking to purchase a unit within a building or a condo complex that has at least 4 units within it, and that minimum jumps all the way up to 25%. So you may have been thinking, hey, maybe I can do my FHA, 3% down, those other financing mechanisms that work for primary residences, but when you're buying here, that's simply not the case. So plan for a 10% minimum if you are buying a single, a duplex, or a triplex. If you're buying in any other type of structure, you will need to put down at least 25%. Now that brings us to number one. And you might be wondering, what could have a bigger impact than my heat and air, my flood insurance, my down payment? This one might surprise you. It's your water bill. So New Jersey American Water, who is our supplier here in Ocean City, doesn't just take your meter readings each and every month to see how much water you used. What they do, and this is to take advantage and make sure that they are able to sustain their infrastructure, is they average your months of heaviest usage, and that would be June, July, and August. So while you may not use your property the other 9 months out of the year, they're going to average those 3 months, and that will be your bill every other month of the year. So you could be sitting at home in October, November, wonder why you have this big bill, because you weren't even on site. You didn't use anything. Your property's winterized. Why are you being charged this much? And that is simply because of the way that they calculate their bills. It's not strictly based off of usage per month. It's based off of the average of June, July, and August. And while that may not seem like much, $50 here, $100 there, whatever the case is, over the course of a year alone, that adds up pretty quickly. Now, extrapolate that over the course of several years. You're paying much more than you may have expected if you were expecting to pay based off of usage alone. So there we have it, the top 6 hidden costs of owning a beach house in Ocean City. As always, I appreciate you coming by the channel and checking out this video. If you found it helpful, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe and turn on notifications as well. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next video.